Jeff Turner here, and I'm here to talk about, in this certain video, West Ham United FC. Now, as you may know, all you West Ham supporters out there, we are in fucking trouble. It really, really is a dire situation. And especially for the last 10 years, we've had the lifeblood fucking sucked out of us. Now, I'm here to put the blame on the doorstep of fucking two people, David Sullivan and Karen Brady. Now, you may ask, what am I doing this for? Well, we're going to have to act to try and get these people out. And I'm telling you, the way to do it is sign a petition to get Sullivan and Brady out of this club. Now, you might say, oh, what's the petition do? It might be small. Well, I'm telling you that the small things can grow. And this may be the catalyst that sparks the revolution. I'm old school, but I'm appealing not just to the old school, but to the new school of, well, get away to this fucking along with this way of thinking, sign this petition, and together we may be able to do something. We love you, West Ham. Come on, you Irons. Do it.
What a legend. What a legend. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an impromptu Sunday Night Live. I weren't going to do one, but yeah, I thought I'd bite the bullet, try and get back on the horse, and I can see there's a couple of Spurs fans that are in there laughing at us as they always do. But yeah, I look, as always, I'm gonna just try and go into. I've got a lot to say. As I've said before, my sound's gone. Is the sound gone? Is it back now? Let me know. Let me know, Nath. Yeah? All right, cool. Yeah, look, as always, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and don't forget, drop a like on the video. So, yes, I've had a bit of a week off. I'm not going to go into my garden thing. I'm bored with my garden now as well. It's done. That's all that matters. Very happy with it, though. It's very nice. Very clean. But West Ham, it is a bit of a dead spot at the minute. You know, massive credit to the channels that are out there, you know, still sort of plucking away, to be honest, and putting content out there because it is very, very difficult at the minute. I will say, I'm personally stuck in a state of purgatory and frustration because, you know, probably for the first time for a long time since they've been in, Sullivan, Brady, Gold, over the past few months, we've started to see the fan base come together to be united, and we saw it from that clip there. You know, it culminated with that first protest before the Crystal Palace game, and it was lovely. It was really good to get the numbers there, and we was getting more traction on. We was more together as a fan base on social media. There was more togetherness. There was less infighting. You know, everyone was focused on the ball, on BS out. Now what we're seeing, I still think the lion's share of people are, but what we're seeing now, I heard it from Kat, who mentioned last week when she wanted to come on and do a phone-in on a Sunday night show. She did say that she was getting loads of abuse on other channels from fans that are basically saying, you know, well, what's the point of boycotting? What's the point of protesting now? Now, I think somebody made a point earlier on, Will, in our group, and he said, I think what it is, you've got some fans that only care about the team and they don't really care about the club, because they are two different things. You know, we're more, personally for me, West Ham is more than the 11 blokes on the pitch, far more than that. You know, if that was all you followed West Ham for, I'm not too sure why you'd follow West Ham if it was just the football, if that's all you cared about. And I don't feel like I'm at a stage now where I should be, or anyone should be, having to go over the reasons why we're protesting and why we want the ball out. How many times have we got to say it? How many times have we got to keep on hammering home and almost justifying why we're protesting now? Why would that even be the case? It just blows my mind. Now, look, I do accept and agree that there are some fans out there that will genuinely feel like that. That's fine. That's up to you. Right, but I don't necessarily agree with you jumping on other fans that you don't agree with, calling them fake fans and not supporting the team and all of that, because it's rubbish anyway. The fact of the matter is, this is all building towards the Brentford game, people. So this is obviously the boycott of the game. Bear in mind, we haven't won at home since February. We've played at home twice this year, or 3 times this year, all London derbies. got battered in 2 of them, got battered in all 3 of them, really. Played off the park. Back-to-back, Chelsea, Tottenham. You know, the Chelsea game, we got beat 5-0, didn't get a yellow card. What exactly do you think the fans give that team? They just don't. They don't. Unfortunately, as much as you may think you have an impact on that team, the sad truth is, and this isn't a reflection on you as a fan, it's not. But because of that dynamic, the stadium, how far away you are from that pitch, how you've been diluted, how you're all full of, you know, fight and everything else, and then you go up, you sit in your seat, and you're sat and you're flanked by tourists. Half of them don't even fucking support the team. The atmosphere's dead in there. You don't help that team. So having one game away to bury home and hammer home and show that we're united and show that we are on board with getting this balled out of this club because of what they've done and because of what they're continuing to do, I don't understand why it's so difficult for people to understand. I really don't. It's a positive thing. It's West Ham fans standing together. Of course, West Ham fans want to go and see Nuno on his first game at the stadium. Of course they do. You know, stands to reason you do. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to be seeing an awful lot more of him. Nuno knows for a fact that this is nothing to do with him. You know, it's all over social media. We're not protesting against the manager or the team. We never have been. This movement, for me at least, was never about getting Graham Potter out. Yeah, he was shit and he had to go, but it was never about him. The managers are just a symptom of this. So again, I don't understand why people find it so difficult and so disgusting that fans would stand together to try and be ambitious and try and set the club, help set the club on a better path. Look at the state of us at the minute. Fulkrug's injured. He's out now, 6 weeks. Nuno needs a target, man. I don't know how this is going to work. There's people saying Callum Marshall up front, but you can't have him leading the line. Great player, really good striker, but I'm talking about the type of striker that he normally has in his team. You're looking at Jimenez, you're looking at Chris Wood, he's put Fulkrug up there. He clearly wants to have somebody that he can aim the ball at and arrow the ball at. I've heard people say Thomas Souček. Look, I don't think that's a good idea, but probably a better idea than most. If that's what you need from your forward, I don't know. But for me, I think there will be lots of people boycotting that game, and none of you, not one of you, should feel anything other than pride for what you're doing. Don't let these fans that are coming out there and calling you and trying to guilt you into feeling bad about this. Fuck off. They've got no right. If that's your ticket, you've bought it, you decide whether you go or not, and you're deciding to go for the good of your team. I tell you what, if you support Nuno and you want this team to do well, even more reason, because the only way that Nuno is ever really going to succeed at this club is if this ball are gone. It's the only way. We're always in debt. We're always close to PSR. We're always signing players that are shit. I mean, look, have a look at the latest lot. You got James Ward-Prowse. We're not going to be able to get rid of him. We're not going to be able to give him away. We paid almost 30 million for him. He's on 120 grand a week. He's gone. He's out of Nuno's plans. We're going to try and sell him in January. We'd be lucky if we can give him away because somebody's going to have to pay his wages. Max Kilman would pay too much money for. Tadibo would pay too much money for. I'm not being funny. Looking at just in this last window, Fernandes, it looks like we paid too much money for. I felt that at the time. We overpay and then end up underselling all the time, and that's why we're in the shit that we're in. You can't be that fickle as a fan. If you were before Nuno came in, all for BS out. If you were, and then all of a sudden we've brought a manager in who ain't even been allowed to bring in his own fucking backroom staff. I don't buy at all that that's Nuno's choice, by the way. That's a PR stunt, not from him, not from Nuno, but from the club. I'll get into that in a minute. Now, how can you just flip and change your mind off the back of he's been here for 2 games, we've drawn one, and we didn't even turn up in the other one, which was another London derby? There's not much that he can do, but I don't know really what you're expecting of this guy. I've said it before, he hasn't got the right sort of team that he needs. I'm not excited. Maybe if we got Nuno in just as a transfer window was opening and he could go out and buy some players, I'd feel a bit differently. But the fact that he's got to work with what he's got now, I think he's completely the wrong man for this. I think come Christmas, If we don't get anything in the next 4 games, which are our most winnable run of games, or, you know, the games that you look at and you think, yeah, decent points all, potentially there. Bear in mind, as I've said before, we look at them teams like, yeah, we could get points out of them. How do you think they're looking at us? They'll be thinking, if we don't beat West Ham, we're fucked. That's that. They're looking at us as though it's a shoo-in for 3 points. Hopefully it's not going to be. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to boycotting this game and supporting a team and getting behind it, makes no fucking difference. It makes no difference. I'm sorry, it don't. Our most successful period in that stadium was when it was in fucking COVID, when there was no fans in there. That's a fact. And like I've just said, we ain't won since February. What do you think you're going to do? There's not much you can do in there. This is why we're protesting. It's why we're protesting. Because we've had our fucking heart and soul ripped out, and you really feel it when you're in that stadium. You do. So that's why. So please God, I'm gonna say it again. If you're boycotting, well done. Thank you very much. I think you're a fucking brilliant fan. I think you love your football club. That's what I think. You love your football club. Because you do want to go, you do want to support the team, you are conflicted, you do want to be there for Nuno in his first game. Of course you do. But you're looking at the bigger picture. You don't just care about the team. You care about more than that. You're West Ham. You care about the club. That's what you care about. You care about the bigger picture. And it is getting upsetting. It is annoying. And that's one of the reasons why, if I'm perfectly honest, why my content is becoming less and less and less and less. Because starting this petition that I did and having to fight to get people to sign it, like I never thought I'd have to, has been the thing that's hurt me most as a football fan, as a West Ham fan. Because, yes, I know I'm not the most liked character. I know that. I know I can be a divisive character. But I thought this was one thing that would unite West Ham fans, that everyone would get behind, that we would all fucking... do you know what I mean? We would all galvanise behind this idea to get these people out. But nothing at all. And the pushback has been ridiculous. You know, even since the other channels have got involved, we got it up to 14,000. Well, other channels have been pushing it for the last 2-3 weeks. We've got about another 1,000 out of it. It's being pushed everywhere. We've still only got just over 15,000 signatures on that petition. I do think that sadly, there are less people now that love the club, and there are more people that are just kind of... they're Premier League West Ham fans. That's what they are. It's about the team. That's what it is. They don't know what it feels like to be a West Ham fan. Sadly, I don't think they do. You know, I almost feel sorry for them. But to those fans like Kat, who's in the chat at the moment, that has had issues on other channels, yeah, don't feel guilty. You know, don't feel guilty at all. What you're doing is exactly the right thing. And we're going to continue with this. I'm going to continue with this personally. I'm not going to stop doing this until we get these people out, because if we don't get them out, I'm going to be gone as well. I'm going to be gone with I won't be able to put up with this for too much longer. That is what's kind of killing it for me, is the fan base. It's seeing what Kat's talking about there. You know, we've just gone out, we've got Nuno, everyone was united, and then all of a sudden these fucking voices are popping up and that division has crept in again. What did I say when we signed Nuno? What did I actually say? I said, this manager, not his fault, this manager will divide the fan base once more. First of all, I don't even think it's his football yet. I can't even call it that, because we haven't even had a chance to sort of get used to it yet. So I don't even think it's that. But I did believe that manager, like they all have, pragmatic managers throughout time, Sam Allardyce, you know, Kirbishley, Moyes, they all do. They all divide the fan base. It's as simple as that. Sullivan knows this. He knows it only too well. Do you know what? For me, I know a lot of you are thinking it's, a really good... It is a good appointment, but this was a spiteful appointment. It was a spiteful appointment. I'm telling you it was. And I hope it goes well for Nuno, I do. But moving on to this chap, he's had the same coaching staff. I'm talking about his assistant manager, his head coach, goalkeeping coach. I had a little look earlier on. He had the same at Wolves, he had the same at Tottenham, and he had the same at Nottingham Forest. Well, all of a sudden, we're not recruiting any of these people. None of them are coming in. Now, I know it's being sold as Nuno is really happy. I'm sure he does like Mark Robson and Steve Potts and people like that. I'm sure he does. But I've got a feeling that this is a PR stunt from the board, because obviously each of those characters are now his first team coaches and his coaching staff, whatever else. We've got more of an affinity with them straight away because they're West Ham. They're West Ham through and through. And I do feel like he's been forced into something, like he's been pushed into a bit of a corner with that. I hope I'm wrong, but generally, typically, these people want their own people in. He's never done this before. He's never gone in and flown solo like this, you know. And quite often, look at Moyes without Irving. You know, you kind of, their number twos are normally quite important to them. So I don't buy that Nuno doesn't want his standard coaching team. I don't buy that for a minute. So again, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Maybe he's been told that he can get it at the end of the season, or he can get it in January. I don't know. Maybe Sullivan's thinking, well, look, if this goes to shit, because listen, Sullivan can't afford, West Ham can't afford to get relegated. Physically, because of the Met, we should be able to. West Ham should be financially fine. But we can't afford it because of how they've run us. If we fall out of that league, we're fucked. We've already got more or less 1 foot in administration. We're treading water the whole time because I reeled off a couple of names earlier on. Go back through time. It's not hard to understand why we're in such financial bother. And it's because of the way they're running the fucking club. Or not running it. Using it as a personal piggy bank. So I am a little bit fucking concerned for Nuno and for West Ham, because there is a chance for Nuno. If it doesn't work, if we get 3 points out the next 4 games, then get hammered on a run up to Christmas, and we're cemented in that bottom 3, Nuno's job's under threat. 100% it is. And I do think that's one of the reasons why they haven't gone out and they've gone and got his coaching staff. I think they're waiting to see how it goes, because they've already had to pay off 2 sets. It ain't just the manager you have to pay off, it's all the fucking backroom staff as well. So it's very convenient. I think that these not they've been forced on him, but that he's the first manager that's done this. Now, it could turn out to be a masterstroke. It could be good because we've got all this youth talent coming through. So bringing in, the under-21s manager in Mark Robson and bringing Steve Potts in, maybe this is going to provide a pathway, a gateway for the academy to finally come into this team. Maybe it will. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not personally sold. Right, what I'll do, everyone, very quickly, I'm going to go through a couple of your comments now. 1 second. So we've got Green Badge. How you doing, mate? Hammers Mikey. You're all just talking to each other here. Oh, look, we've even got a Spurs fan. Hello, mate. You're all right. I ain't even got the energy to have a go at you. I haven't. I'm flat as a pancake at a minute. Hello, Perry. You got Alec as well, and Michael Levy Jr. You got Ray Burke. You got Alan Noakes, who says we can solid up the defence, get a stable midfield, but apart from Bowen, who the hell is going to? I don't know. This is such an unbalanced team. It's such an unbalanced team. It really is. He's got his work cut out. Sorry about the dogs, by the way. Maurizio, he says it's back. Talked about my sound. Irons TV, how long till Nick blows up? I'll give him 3 minutes. I think I did sort of just semi. I didn't mean to. I just get wound up talking about West Ham. Who got rid of Rom? Did somebody ban him? Oh, very, very, very nasty. It can only have been Mikey. MJ loves the rejects. Yeah, it's a brilliant one, that, isn't it? Yeah, so what I'll do, let me see if I can pair my phone up, because I'd like someone else to have their say. And look, if you are the sort of person, I'll be honest with you, I will debate. I will take any opinion on this. I would like to get somebody, maybe potentially, who's not in favour of boycotting, who's not in favour of doing this, and for you to explain why. Just so you know, there will be a debate on it. All right, but let me just see if I can get my phone paired up. 1 minute. This didn't work last time, did it? So I'm losing my voice a little bit as well, people. I've been ill for a couple of days as well. So let's pair that up. 1 second. Let me see if that works. No, that hasn't worked. So we'll try again. Turn that off. Do you know what? This hasn't worked the last few times. It's quite frustrating. Right, back in now. Where's my Bluetooth button? Let's make sure it works. I'm going to see if there's a way I can do this on a, hardwired. It might be easier. Save me pairing it. All right. Okay, let's try once more. No. Weird thing is, right, I'll bet you if I play music, it works. Hang on. Yeah, look. Music works. All right, makes no sense. All right, well, look. I'll do it the old-fashioned way because I'm not going to spend all night doing that. If anyone does want to phone in, you're more than welcome. Yeah, if anyone does want to phone in, you're more than welcome. And I will do it the old-fashioned way and I'll connect you on there. I know, Kat, you said, it was about a week ago now, you said that you wanted to have your say on this. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of, reinforce it again that, it is a tech crisis, mate. I've got to try and sort that out. It's been the last 2 or 3 times I've tried to do a phone in, it ain't bloody worked. Iron CV says it's only a matter of time before we get relegated, either this season or the next. It is feeling that way, isn't it? Because it feels like the writing's on the wall to me. I mean, a lot of people. I know people say all that matters this season is staying up. But my God, it's felt like that. It feels like it's felt like that forever. There we go. Right. Well, I'm going to try and put you on my box of tricks, Cat. One second. No, I don't think that's worked. That's so bloody annoying. Right, hang on. Right, Cat, I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. My box of tricks ain't working.
Ah. Okay.
Right.
Can you hear me?
I think everyone can hear you, yes. They should be able to. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Hi, everyone.
So tell us about your experience, Kat, anyway, that you've had just recently.
Oh, I tell you, I've had a week, maybe a week and a half. I'll start with West Ham, okay, because I'm pissed about West Ham.
Yeah.
So I bought 4 additional tickets for the Brentford game for £1.
Yeah.
£2 actually, because they charge you a fee. So I bought 4 additional tickets. I'm obviously not going.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to have as many empty seats as possible. They only let you have 6.
Good on you.
So, thank you. So I've got 6 tickets and they're all going to be empty. And West Ham were on to me. So they have locked my account. I was not able to apply for the Leeds ballot. I was not able to buy tickets for Burnley. And I've been going back and forth with them via email ever since. So
they've locked you out. Did you manage to purchase the tickets?
Yeah, I bought the tickets. But my account's locked now.
I know what you've done. They know what you've done.
They do. They know.
Yeah.
But I'm still in a talk. I'm still in talks with them.
Yeah.
But I'm. It's just made me want to do it even more. To be honest, they've really pissed me off.
Well, some of the stories that you hear, because I speak to Paul Coburn quite a lot since we've been obviously doing the work for the protest. We keep in touch, and working for Hammers United, he's dealing with these sorts of queries all the time. People that just get banned for next to nothing as well. And there is something that people do need to be mindful of after the Newcastle game. They're talking about the sitting. And they've all said about the Bobby Moore stand. Apparently, look, making you aware. I don't know this, but from what I've been told, there is some small print on your season ticket that says if you get caught in the wrong seat, you can be banned.
Okay, well, I'm in the Bobby Moore stand lower anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for other people. So what, it wouldn't surprise me if they were, you got some higher profile fans, people that, that are quite well known, I suppose, like Nikki Hawkins from West Ham Fan TV and some of the others. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to make a bit of an example of someone. So people do need to be mindful of that as well. Obviously, you got to do it. You got to do it, but they are definitely playing dirty. We're at war here, and that makes it makes me even more angry, Kat, when you've got got West Ham fans that are kind of just want to buckle now. Why?
I know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I tried. I mean, obviously, the other thing I said to you was I was on another channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cheated on you. So
no, it's fine. Michael Levy Jr. says here. He says, "But how can they prove that you weren't going, though, Kat?" And I'm assuming that's what you're saying to him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. See, the last email they sent me was quite promising.
Yeah.
So they said they're going to ring me on Monday and talk about it. And I said to them, it's for my son's birthday and bring in some cousins. Because what they're saying is they're 4 tickets. They can't prove that I'm boycotting. What they're saying is you can't buy 4 tickets for 4 children. And I said they're 16 and 17. And they said it's a safeguarding issue to have 16 and 17-year-olds in the stadium at 8 o'clock at night.
What?
And I said, well, that's not what it says, because I was very careful. When I bought the tickets, it says if you're over 16, you are allowed to attend by yourself.
Yeah.
But they said they're going to ring me on Monday and talk about it. So I think that they might unlock my account on Monday, so I might be able to buy tickets again, hopefully, because I think Liverpool's coming out soon, and I'm going to buy an extra ticket for that.
Yeah, Irons TV's probably making a good shout here, saying that Kat, this phone call probably doesn't help your call. So from this point on, we'll give you a different name. We'll give you a different. Do you want to be called Sharon? Should we call you Sharon? Or
that's a very Essex name. I love
it. So yeah, no. Look. At the end of the day, I do think that there's quite a few people I've heard, because this is obviously a stunt that a lot of fans are pulling, rightly so. Yeah. I'm not saying that I have, which I have, but I think a lot of fans are doing the same. Because look, we want that impact on it's, and it obviously is bothering them now, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. They sent out the emails. I'm not a season ticket holder now, but from what I've been told, they sent out the request to season ticket holders. Ticket exchange, asking you to relist your ticket a week earlier than what they would usually, as well. Yeah. So it's fucking hell.
I noticed that. Yeah.
I know they're definitely desperate, and this is and that's even more reason why you would do this. And like I said, I know it's not the type of thing that a match going fan does want to hear. It's not. You want to feel like your support does help the team and stuff like that. But I think that we all know that it doesn't really in that stadium, because
I'm well aware
it just doesn't. You're almost. Do you know what? I've said it before. You're almost window dressing for TV, because in terms of the, don't get me wrong. If you had 60, even with the dynamic of that stadium, if it was 60,000 genuine West Ham fans that were all together, that were all united, you generate a bit of a racket in there. We've seen it before, but the fact is, it just isn't the case now. It's not.
No, it's too big. The stadium should have gone up to 50. That probably would have been a good amount.
Yeah, no, I know. I just think it's a dynamic of the stands. I think if you sit at the back, it's awful. Because the rake of the stadium is such. Most stadiums they're steep banked, so you can have 60,000. If it's quite a steep bank, it's fine. It still feels quite intimate in there, and you can keep all the noise. But because the rake of the stadium is so shallow, if you're at the back, you may as well watch from home. It's fucking miles away.
Yeah, we've been at the back a few times, my son and me.
Yeah,
I was proud of him though, because when we were recording our podcast this week, I explained to him that all the abuse I've been getting from other fans this week, and I said to him, Nate, what if I said to you, let's go to the Brentford game? I said, would you go? He said, no.
Good lad.
He said, I want them out as much as you do, and he's 13.
Yeah, it's what that's the thing. And this is what you've got to hope for is that the next generation, people like your boy who's being raised in the right way, they do care about more than just the team. They care about the club. This is what I was saying earlier on. West Ham, the club, it's our family, it's our community. That's what we all know. It's what we all love. You know, the team is a bit of a byproduct of it. You know, in years gone past, the team was normally a bit of a physical representation of what we are as a fan base. That's long gone as well. But although having said that, it might be because it's so dead in there. You know, you can't really expect much more. Whoever that is, I'll give you a call back.
Yeah, don't interrupt me.
Yeah,
I'm rude.
I'll give you a call back. But no, look. At the end of the day, I think it's not going to make any difference. I'm sure that is how it will be spun by Sullivan and the media as well, because you know he's got some friends in the media that are kind of itching to get on the fans' back again. You know,
you know what they'll say if we lose.
Yeah.
You know what they'll say, and Brentford have the perfect record. They've only lost once.
Yeah.
So we probably will lose. And you know what he's going to say? He's going to blame it on us.
Yep.
And that's what they said to me on the other channel. They were saying, how are you going to feel if we lose? You've got to back the team. You've got to back Nuno and all of this. And I thought, for God's sake.
Well, how did you, like I said, we haven't won since February at that place.
I know, it's so depressing.
It is so depressing, you know.
It's so sad.
It's
November
ticket, now.
And you travel all that way, because I don't live in London. So I have to have my son plays football, so he finishes football, he's knackered. We travel all the way into London. It takes us, it's 2.5 hour to 3 hour journey.
Bloody hell.
We go straight from his match, straight into London, just to sit and watch us lose every damn time. The only time we've ever seen them win is away.
Yeah.
Which we can't get away tickets because I don't have. It's quite tricky to get away tickets, you know. So I'd love to.
It's all about who you know.
Yeah, that's all right. So.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But no, look, Kat, it was lovely talking to you.
Thanks
as
for
always. And I'm sorry that that you did receive lots of shit, and to everyone that did. I'm going to say it, Kat. You can all go fuck yourselves, all right? So, look, Kat, lovely to talk to you, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Too. Thanks for having me, everyone. Bye.
Cheers, bye. Yeah, it is frustrating. I mean, I've seen it. I didn't see what happened with Kat, but I've seen it on social media where you're getting a couple of fans that are piling in, and you're just like, mate, go away. Honestly. Some of our fans are so fucking fickle. They really are. Right, so we've got okay. Josh, I'll give you a call back, mate. Here we go. Hang on.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, Josh. You?
Yeah, I can't complain. Thank you. Can't complain.
Yeah, so you was going to call in a few weeks ago, wouldn't you, mate? But I missed your WhatsApp. So what would you like to cover this evening?
Look, I just kind of wanted to go over the club in general. As you can hear, I'm obviously not from the UK, but I've lived here now for quite a few years, always across from the stadium. So, you know, started to see things. Actually, my first game was when we lost. It was Pellegrini's last game. And
sorry, Josh.
We lost 2-1.
Josh, 1 minute. Look, guys, in the chat, please stop with the political stuff. Not on here. I can't manage it myself. I can't. And people start fucking just. It's a football chat. All right, please leave it for now. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Yeah, no. My brother and I we moved here, I moved here in 2017, and you know, any which way. First game was against Leicester. We lost 2-1, and that was kind of our first taste of football here in the UK. And ever since then, started going pretty much week in, week out. So yeah, really just kind of wanted to have a chat about what I kind of think is what I see on a week in, week out basis, what I've noticed. Doesn't matter who our manager is, we still continue to play. I'm going to use ice hockey terms here.
Yeah.
But we play like we give the other team the field as if it's ice hockey. They
Absolutely.
just dump it into our zone. They sit there. They play in our final third for the 60 minutes a game. Whatever we take 1-2 touches, maybe try and get a little bit of a play off or something in their side. We lose the ball. They come right back. No midfield, nothing. And we haven't had that since Rice was here, quite frankly.
No.
So yeah, look, and then on the ownership side, I did want to, touch on that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I think that there are obviously, problems, but, from my point of view, I know that a lot of people like to, talk about the stadium and, all this kind of stuff. And, quite frankly, there were some friendlies at that stadium, and I live right across from the stadium, and, the South American fans had that place absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Are they?
Well, no. In terms of that stadium, on the right night, we've seen it ourselves. We've had a couple of nights in there. We did the European night against Sevilla. We had a great night in there. But it is one of those stadiums where, because typically, look, not every league game is going to be a cup final like atmosphere. That's what that was. So on a standard run of the mill game, the atmosphere will get lost.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm definitely not slating that at all. I mean, there are games in there where you can hear the guy next to you, from whatever. You can hear every word that he's saying. Other games where, yeah, you're in Europe and there's something to fight for. Yeah, okay, it starts to get loud and it starts to get lively. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that. Again, I was never at the Bowlen, so probably can't really compare. But I think there's a little bit too much weight added on that side to things as they are. Yes, I also live in Stratford. It's fucking shit to get down to the stadium.
Yeah.
It's shit for me to get back out. And, quite honestly, that's why I've never moved out of Stratford. Because now I won't go any further than, the 10 minutes it takes me to get in and out.
Yeah.
But even there, if I don't get out right away, I get stopped. And, my flat's like one of the first ones across the thing. So, you get stopped because there's too many people going to the station and things like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, from a fan point of view, from a fan perspective, it sucks to go there. The Carpenter's Arms is just the worst pub in the world as well. They need to clean their taps.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that are in the chat that disagree with you about the Carpenter's Arms.
They need to clean the taps. So disgusting.
Mate, you should have gone to a few of the boozers round Upton Park. I don't think that was ever cleaned, the taps.
Right. Yeah. True. Go to the old Black Bull. Yeah. That's the better one. No, so look, that's that's kind of why I wanted to call in. Just have a genuine chat and give you, at least from my point of view, what I've kind of seen. And a lot of that is really, it doesn't matter. I mean, striker. We get mad when Skamaka scores 6 goals or whatever and plays 18 or 19 games, and that's not enough. Antonio scores 12 goals in 40 games, and he's a hero. So, I also don't really buy into this kind of whole demeanor that, oh, yeah, no matter what, it's always our striker. No, we can't play with a target man. Well, quite frankly, if our target man scores 10 to 12 goals a season for West Ham, that's a shit ton of goals. That's a lot of goals.
I think with when it comes to certainly the way that Nuno plays, because I know a fair bit about Nuno and the way he plays football, and it is very, very Moyes-like. In fact, I'd say his style of football is even more dependent on a very robust target man, because it is quite attritional football. It is deep. It is very defensive. I mean, Geezer was a goalkeeper, and he does need that out ball. You do. He needs someone that can hold that ball up and make time for the other guys, the inside forwards, to get up and support him. I just don't see. I don't see how we progress playing the way that Nuno typically plays without that big striker. I don't see how it works.
Well, there's two ways, right? You either pull a Jamie Vardy at Leicester, and you have the fastest guy up front that you possibly can, and you send him long every time.
Knock it into the channels, yeah.
Exactly. Or you do exactly as you say. You get a big lump out there, Andy Carroll type guy, even Skamaka. I'm convinced we should have never sold him. But,
no. Right. I agree. But Moyes was never going to use him.
No. And that was also his own fault. Like, I mean, he looked a world, even Cornet looked a world beater in the Conference League. I mean, the two of them, Cornet did one of those little, Trivella back behind the back thing whatever assisted to Skamaka. I remember one of those games. And,
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought he was the guy for us. That goal against Fulham where it came up and whatever, he definitely armed it down. But that finish over the keeper where he just chipped him.
I've got to say that I think that Skamaka, or because Moyes couldn't work with a conventional forward, you know, he needed an Antonio because Antonio was a one-man wrecking machine. He could win the ball and then he'd go and chase his own knock-ons, and he created chaos up front, which meant that the other players like Bowen and Kudus flourished off the back of that because he just caused chaos up there. But I do think that, for instance, I think Nuno would make far more use of someone like Skamaka. Far more use.
Absolutely.
Look at what he's done with Wood. Look at what he did with Wood at Nottingham Forest. You know?
And Skamaka is 10 times, like, so much more technically sound, and he's, 6'6", 200-pound lump.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. He is. So anyway, on the topic of the moment, you know, you're I know you didn't experience a bowling, mate. That's not your fault. But where do you stand on the board at the moment? Are you in favour of getting these people out so that we can actually push on and realise our potential at this club, or do you think we need to get behind the team and support them at the minute? Where do you stand?
I don't stand on either side. I would say I think that the ownership is, quite frankly, you and I, we can try and put as much, as much clout and whatever. We can say as much as we want, and we can try and drum up as much, problems for them as we want.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they have the money. They control the stock. They control the firm. They control they control the club.
Yeah.
I don't think that is, I'm very much for the petition and such. I think that it's good to go and, stand after the team and what we support. As you said earlier on the last call, I think we have transitioned away from what I always thought was West Ham.
Yeah.
And I think, when Mark Noble was there, right?
Yeah.
He would put in a tackle. Sufal, when we first signed him.
The biggest indication of that was this season at home against Chelsea. We got beat 5-0. We didn't even. There wasn't even a yellow card.
Oh yeah, I was there.
There wasn't even a yellow card. No, you need someone that gives a fuck. Someone that's going to go in and put a tackle in and be angry. Be as angry as the fans. That's why fans leave on 60 minutes and 70 minutes now, because there's no fight. There's no leadership in this team. When you go a couple of goals down, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. Well, I went over at 4-0 and left from behind the net, where I usually sit down in the 120s, and then I walked over to the side there to try and get as close to David Sullivan and them, and started having a go, and it got kicked out. So
nice.
I'll try to avoid that. But no, so look, I think that there is, we can't avoid it. They're going to continue to run the club as they see fit. Do I think that we've gotten further and further and further away from, the identity that I thought the club had, even 5 to 7 years ago? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
We don't have that. To me, one of the reasons that I like West Ham is it reminds me a lot of our, baseball, American football clubs, back from where I'm from in the U.S. Smaller market team, not big city, but it's more of a blue collar teams. Work hard. Yeah, that kind of mantra. Yeah. And so I thought that kind of, represented pretty well what East London was. And, kind of the coaches, the fan bases, they all kind of have the same mentality. And that's really, why I got into West Ham. And, ultimately I think that is something that we've gone away from. Is you had Mark Noble, you had Vladimir Sufal. Again, as I was saying earlier, Sufal became my favorite player when we were playing Villa.
Yeah.
And he had Grealish on his side for 70 minutes of the game. And then they flipped him to the other side, and Ben Johnson had him. Ben Johnson tackles Grealish, and Grealish is on the ground crying about. And Johnson goes to give his hand out, and Sufal runs across the thing and smacked his hand out of the way and just, shook his finger in front of his face. And that's, that was to me, that's West Ham. Mark Noble picking up a player and moving him off the pitch because he's wasting time. That's West Ham.
Yeah.
Craig Dawson coming in there and fucking putting in a, blood-shifted battle, or getting his head on that ball no matter what, putting his head in. did he get his head kicked or did he kick the other guy's head? I don't remember even. That's what I think that this club stands for. And now you have Paqueta, who throws himself on the ground every 2 minutes. And who I think has actually been our worst player, actually, ever since that Chelsea game. He's been horrible. No,
because then we had the Forest game where we won, and that was probably his best performance. That's probably his best performance that he's put in for the best part of a year. But I must admit, he's fallen off since then. Since Nuno's come in, he seems to have lost a bit of interest. I will say, I think looks to me like now he's treading water. But at the same time, I don't think he's on his own. I mean, we look to Paqueta because he's one of our better players, and he's had, I suppose if we've got a talisman, you'd look to maybe it's him to make something happen. But if you look at that midfield, in the last 3 games, Fernandes, completely anonymous, nothing. Magassa, anonymous, nothing. Paqueta, anonymous, nothing. No real guts, no fight, there's nothing from anyone. Not really.
I've liked that he's brought Potts on at least a little bit.
Potts will bring that steel into the team as well, because Potts puts a tackle in and Potts knows what it is to be West Ham. And I do think that you make some good points there about when you do go back and you talk about Noble, to give this team a little bit of identity and a little bit of fight again. We need that desperately back in this team. So hopefully Potts does get brought in, by hook or by crook. And apart from anything else, not just because it's a token, he's a West Ham boy. I think he's one of our better midfielders. Let's face it. He genuinely is. From what I've seen of him, he's a good, solid, all-round midfielder that can do a bit of everything. And to add to that, he's got that kind of he's got that West Ham connection, and he's got a bit of steel about him. I like him. He's got to be in there.
Well, you can see it every time that he moves the ball, right? Every time he moves the ball, there's a little bit of that extra zing to it, and it, he's not going through the motions. He's putting that pass in, and it's moving.
Do you know what I am quite happy about, right? And that's where this could work, and that's where it could be a bit of a masterstroke if it is Nuno that has had any input in this coaching staff selection, which I don't believe. But when Scholes came into that squad, you saw a different player. So when he first came in against Villa, you saw a very confident player. You saw the way he was zipping the ball about, how much sort of appetite he had for the game, how much confidence that he had. And when you watch the youth team play, when you watch the under-21s play, who is coached by Mark Robson, they fucking zip that ball about, mate. Now, you saw that in pre-season. I don't know whether you saw the game when we played Man United in the US. In the second half, when he brought on Fear and he brought on Guillermo, he brought on Potts.
Yeah.
We were knocking that ball about. It was so fluid. One touch, pass and move, pass and move. Now, if we can bring that type of football into the first team with the players that we've got, we could see something happen. And Mark Robson is, I believe, he's the assistant manager. So hopefully he'll have some sort of influence on that as well. Because what we saw with Scholes was, to me, it was like his talent was being coached out of him. Over a period of weeks, he was getting worse every game. I said it before with Potter. Name one player that Potter improved. He didn't. It wasn't a single player. They all got worse. That is a categorical failure for a coach.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. It's been miserable. I mean, again, Mavropanos being your best defender is, for a defensive team, for a defensive-minded team, it's typical West Ham. You can't defend, and then we want to score more, but we can't score more. So then we need to go back to defending more, but we can't defend. And then again, we can't score. So
yeah, no, I know. But anyway, Josh, it was lovely talking to you, mate.
Thank you, sir.
All right, top man, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Saturday, mate. Good call. Do you know what? He did make some really good, and that is interesting, isn't it? So that's a new fan from the US. And the crazy bastard chose to support West Ham, and he probably done his research first. He looked into, probably watched Green Street. I'm only joking, Josh, but because we've got a little bit of character about us, we've got a little bit of history, and he obviously, he doesn't support the big teams where in the US he likes the more sort of gritty fans, the gritty teams, and that's what he thought that West Ham was. That's what he chose to follow, and then he come over there, and what he was talking about how subservient we are to the opposition when we're at home. How much have we seen that now under Moyes, under Potter, where we do that? There's no desire to get the ball back when the opposition... How many times have we been dominated? Well, no, we're always dominated. How many times have we dominated a game in that stadium? And you can't blame the fans for that. You really can't. And that's why I think that passive football that you that we see, that also is one of the reasons why we've got a passive support, because it isn't us. We don't identify with that football. You know, it should be a little bit more pride. It should be like, oh, you're coming to our place. You're going to be in for a fucking fight, and you never are. It's just submissive. It doesn't matter who we get in, and that is why I do hope that with Nuno, that he does get it, and he might do. This could really work for him with keep getting a like of Potsy and getting a like of Mark Robson, and hopefully we'll start to see a little bit more of what we consider to be West Ham identity in that team. We want to see our team have a fucking go. We want to see some tackles going in. That's what we want. Then you might see fan engagement. You might see the fans reacting, because unfortunately, the dynamic of that stadium that they're fucking plonked us in, that is a stadium of a big club, a big team. They've put us there. Now, the difference is, when you've got a small stadium, if you've got Selhurst Park, you've got Upton Park, you know, how many times when you was in that stadium, in the stands at Upton Park, did you feel like you could influence the path of that game? You could. You felt like you was part of it. The 12th man is a real thing. You see it with Leeds at Ellen Road. You see it everywhere. I watch Palace now, and you listen to the fucking noise coming from their stands, and I get jealous. That's the difference. When you're in a small, intimate venue, you can affect the outcome of that game. You can almost take part in it. In these stadiums that you're in, you're not. Even if you make noise, you're not having no bearing on that game. You're just not. It's a stadium for a big club to entertain and put on a show for this massive fucking audience miles from the pitch. That's what it is. You will get we'll have more fun in there, but you're never going to be able to be the 12th man in that stadium. It is never going to fucking happen. Never. It's not going to happen. Right. Does anyone else want to call in? I'm going to make this next one the last call. I'll leave it. I'm not going to put my number up because I'll get loads of calls come through at the same time. I'll do an open phone in soon. I mean, this is open. Loads of people have got me money. Got me phone number. But I will put I'll do a dedicated phone in show. I'll put my number up, and we'll do like 5-minute calls or something like that on this thing. But no, I do think yeah. So there you go. Look, I mean, it's a good way of putting it. Mick Nardini, he says there, big club idea, small club mentality. Exactly that. If they had no desire to try and move us on and make us make us a better fucking team than what we were, why did we move? Why did we move? And that's another reason why I can't understand the mentality of some of these fans that we've got now. You know, even if it works with Nuno, what the fuck are we expecting here? What we'll get like a mid to lower half table finish? That ain't fucking what we want. That's not what we bought in for. We could have been that team at Upton Park. You know, we could have been shit. You know, also Rans at Upton Park. That's not what we bought into. And I'm just tired of it now. It just feels like we're going through the fucking motions. And I really do hope it goes well for Nuno. I think he's got his work cut out. He really has. But look, that's it anyway. I think we'll leave it there for a Sunday night. I'm gonna go and get my head down. My voice is starting to go. Been very lively in the chat, and loads more people watching than what I was expecting as well. Oh no, yeah, here we go. Hello, Nick speaking. Who am I talking to?
It's Byron Brown here, mate.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, football-wise, football-wise, something different. But yeah, just following in. You know, I think the real situation for me. I've been going West Ham as long as I can remember, and as you said recently, I mean, when we was at Upton Park, I used to be in Bobby Moore Lower, sometimes C stand, and as you say, you felt that you could actually. You were part of the game. You know, when you went to Upton Park, you knew you had a game coming.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's happened since then, obviously, you know, I remember going back in the day, And, we were 1-0 down. And then we got to 1-1. And then you felt that, you could almost suck the ball into the net. Do you know what I mean? You just had that, you were part of it. And now, at the new stadium, I think the problem is when you look at the teams that are in the Premier League, most of them are in a football stadium. We're in an athletic stadium.
We've got a distinct disadvantage to everyone else.
Oh, 100%.
I'll go back to what was David Moyes' launchpad at West Ham. It was COVID, right? And,
yes.
And the reason for that is because we were the only club in the Premier League that thrived because we didn't miss not having a home advantage. Every other club in the Premier League suffered because they missed their fucking home fans, except us. Because and that ain't because we got bad fans. We know we've got great fans. But because of that fucking stadium, it makes no difference.
I mean, the one thing that I think, obviously, look, we all know, if anybody's into football, you're even hearing other fans talking about it now, is that it's from the top. It's the Poison Dwarf and, Botex Barbie and all of them. The problem is, all right, they took us out of Upton Park. All right, people were saying, it costs £1 million just to change the lights and all this type of thing. And if you do it £1, shillings and pence, then to them, they're going to think, yeah, that's great. But the funny thing was, or the thing that I thought would have happened if these were savvy business people, what I thought would have happened is athletic stadiums have traditionally been white elephants. You can't use them after the event that they were designed for. So that place would be sitting there gathering dust. What I thought that they might have done is gone in, speak to Sadiq Khan or whoever, and get it on the cheap and reconstruct it. I mean, the actual shell of it is okay. You can actually reconstruct the inside and make it a football stadium if you so wanted to do. But I don't think that ever crossed their mind.
But that's what we've done. We're watching our football team and our fan base absolutely perish and crumble while we're waiting for another property deal to go through. You know that, didn't you? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know whether you saw that TikTok. I played it some time ago from the guy, the ex employee. He was like a Tottenham fan.
That's right.
Yeah, and he spoke about that, and he said that there was a well-known thing that they used to speak about within their team, that they were sure, so the board was sure that at some point they were going to basically get offered that stadium for nothing. So that's what they want. Now, we know for a fact, right? Not for a fact, all right, okay, not for a fact. But that first, the sale of Upton Park of 40 million to themselves, which is basically what it was. That big kind of, they made a load of money off the back of that. We know they did. That was a property grab. And then this is another one as well. It will be. When they get the rights to that stadium, I'm telling you, if they can get the rights to that stadium, we'll be moved out of fucking Stratford to probably the arse end of Essex, and they'll sell that land. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, the thing with,
And who's going to be left to fight them on it, because the fan base are falling away.
Well, yeah, but you see, this is the exact thing that I think the little dwarf wants. Divide and conquer. That's what he's doing. I've supported West Ham for all my life. And the funny thing is, I've never, until even when we were going up and down like a horse knickers between the Premier and the Championship, we never had a divided fan base.
No,
at all. And it started with Moyes in the last time, and I was listening. I was one of the biggest supporters of Moyes.
There was a little bit under Allardyce. There was a little bit under Allardyce. There was.
Yes, because you see, I think what's happened now in football is you've got the old guard type of fans that wanted to see football, wanted to be entertained, and you've got the new wave of fans that I just want to see a trophy. I just want to see us do this. And the thing was,
they just want to win. I want 3 points by any means necessary. They're happy to watch 90 minutes of shit, and then what I don't get. I don't watch football for that. Honestly, I'm not. I love the game.
Yeah,
I do. I love the game. I've got no interest. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're talking about a cup final, or if you're talking about the penultimate game of a season to keep you in the league or get you into
Yes.
Europe or get you, then win by any means necessary. But you can't have that for 38 fucking games.
But here's the thing, you see, I think what's happened now is like with the owners that we've got, and let's look at it this way. We had Moyes in twice. Now I was one of the biggest Moyes out supporters. Now don't get me wrong, Moyes is an experienced, Premier League manager. He's not the manager any of us would pick.
Fuck no.
Realistically,
Still wouldn't.
And then you look at who we've had after. Who in the world wanted Lopetegui? Seriously,
No one.
nobody.
Nobody wanted. Well, very few people. There was some that wanted Potter. I weren't fucking one of them.
I wasn't. Thing. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. When Potter came in, I had no idea about it. So I asked everybody. I said, "What do you think to him?" And I heard the same thing from everybody. Oh, he was good at Brighton. Oh,
Bullshit.
Chelsea. I don't know.
Yeah.
But West Ham, he had the biggest opportunity to say, "Listen, I am that good," and he put all of his thing to me. He put all of his
Mate, do you know what it is? Whenever we get a new manager, and it's like we've just signed Jurgen Klopp. So what?
Yes.
No. Honestly, for some fans, that's what it's like. So when Potter came in, well, Chelsea got him in, so he can't be that bad. And we it was the same with Lopetegui. He managed Real Madrid. It was the same with fucking. And now with Nuno got so and so to fucking 6th in the league. Honestly, every time we get a new manager, it is like we've just signed fucking Jurgen Klopp.
You know what? I think what there is, we don't look at the CVs close enough.
No.
Yes, Lopetegui did manage Spain, not in the World Cup. He got them qualified, and then he managed Real Madrid for 13 games. Potter, it was more like we were managed by Beatrix Potter. I mean, the James Ward-Prowse thing, I can never understand that. I wish somebody could actually say to me, look, this is why he was picked, because every game he got picked. And then, like you were saying earlier, the guy that called, I think it was the American guy that called before, he was saying, you need somebody on the pitch that's going to, get in there. And all right, Alvarez might have been slow, but I'd prefer Alvarez to James Ward-Prowse. Do you know what I mean? And yet Potter picks him out on loan to Fenerbahce. But I think that what's happening is even if Nuno does well, he won't play the type of football I would want to see. But even if he does well, Sullivan and Brady, they're going to find a way to circumvent it. They're going to put their oar in and negate what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking at. It's a sad case of affair, because I'll say this, and I say it to my mates, and they always have a laugh. I said, you know what? If we got, let's say, with the ground that we're at now, let's say that was rebuilt to be a football stadium, and if we had the right people in charge that wanted to see the team do well, and a lot of these football owners, some of them are not really into football. One or two of them are. But if these guys were West Ham and they wanted to do well, we'd be, and people will laugh this, we'd be the biggest team in London. Now, admittedly,
100%.
It would take a lot of time. It would take a bit of time to convince people we need to win a few cups and all that. But the potential there, and I hate using that word potential, but the potential is absolutely incredible.
Mate, do you know all you would need to get people back in that stadium and to get people back engaged again, and they would be engaged, is blood, sweat and tears. That's it. So do you know what? So that every time, football used to be a fucking war. That's what it used. I know the game's changed, but you used to have 11 men versus 11 men. You'd have, probably 80% of the team were all, mercurial fucking nutcases that used to lever each other, and you'd have a few little, talented players in there that was the icing on the cake. But ultimately, that is what you need. You need that heart. And going back to what our American friend Josh said earlier on, that little moment, that snapshot that he gave us when he said about with Grealish when he switched wings, Johnson put a tackle in and then went to be nice to him, and Soufal went, no, fuck him, leave him. But that's it. That is what you need. That's West Ham. We're on the pitch. We're bastards. We always were bastards. We were bastards in the stand, bastards on the pitch. No one liked coming to West Ham. No one did.
Well, you know the funny thing, going back to that, it's like, as you're quite right. There was always, there used to be Mad Dog Martin Allen.
Yeah.
There'd be the Terminator Julian Dix. There was always, Di Canio. There was always somebody that sort of represented the fans. Do you know what I mean? And I remember I saw a clip this week because I was at the match when we knocked United out of the FA Cup, and we took 12,500 to Old Trafford, and we were out singing them. It was brilliant, and everybody on the pitch stood up.
But do you know what? We do it now, so we can our away support. The away support is still different, mate. It really is.
Yeah.
You go away. It's like it's like sensory overload.
It's a totally different thing.
It's completely
totally
different. You
thing.
feel together. You're all as one. It's fucking excellent, mate. And all you will ever hear when we go away, and if you're watching it on TV, if you're watching it on TV, you'll just hear West Ham fans. That's it. Because we are. Well, I'm not going to be as arrogant to say we're the best fans in the world. Blah blah blah. To me, we are. But
I think we are.
Yeah, but I think we are. But I think we are. But what I mean is, we've got a great fan base, great fan base. But the trouble is, because of what we've become at home, people have started to fall away from it now.
But that's going to happen. I mean, look, as I say, it's from the top. You know, with Sullivan.
Because if you're that way inclined, and that's why going back to what he said, when you're passive. If you're that type of fan, if you're a feisty fan and you want to see your team get on the pitch, have a tear up, kick the opposition up in the air, be on the ball,
absolutely,
then you can't stomach watching this football. You can't.
100%.
You can't stomach it.
100%. And that's the thing. That's the thing that annoys me. You know, I mean, it's like I remember going to the FA Cup final against Liverpool about 12 years ago, whatever it was, and you know, all right, we had Pardew, but I tell you what, every player stood up. We matched Liverpool man for man. That particular day. All right, we lost. But you know what? I didn't look at it as a loss because we gave everything that particular match. And that's all I want. You know, people, because when I listen to these knobheads on TalkSport, and, you know, they're going, oh, well, what's the West Ham way? And all this type of bollocks. To me, all it is giving 100%. And I don't care if we lose. I prefer to win, obviously. But if you've had a great game, and you can't fault anyone. You think, you know, everybody did the best they could. That's all I ask, because what these people seem to forget is football is a sport, equals it should be entertainment. You know, it's not business on the pitch. Yes, you've got to do the business on the pitch, but a lot of these guys, you know, like Sullivan, and they're not even. This guy has got nothing to do with football. And the funny thing is, it's like people slag off Stainton, who. Let's not forget, he put the Leverkusen side, and he actually said, put Xabi Alonso in, and they weren't unbeaten for a year. So he must have an idea what he's doing. But Sullivan puts him in, and it's like you buying a guard dog, and you want to do the barking yourself.
He never backed him. He's gonna forever, rightly so, be whipped with the Fulkrug stick because that was a bad signing. But
exactly.
But don't forget, we've gone out. He bought Kante. He looks like he's going to be a fuck. We bought him for 50 grand. So we bought him, sent him back to Paris FC. I mean, if you watch him now, for the under-21s, that kid's 100% going to come through being our midfield. He's superb. You got Guilherme, who's going to be a good player. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't Stainton's fault that we didn't sign Duran. It was Sullivan. No. Sullivan would not stump up the additional 5 million for Stainton to be able to go out there and seal the deal and give Aston Villa what they wanted for the player that we needed. That's the reason we ended up going, well, fuck, I'll get Fulkrug. He's all right. That's the reason we went and got Fulkrug. It shouldn't have been Fulkrug. It should have been Duran.
That whole thing was insane to me, because I remember I actually looked at like Fulkrug's, not Fulkrug, Duran's thing, and he was doing the crossed hammers and all this, and so the rumor goes he was willing to take a wage cut to make the deal happen to come to us.
Well.
But the problem with somebody like Sullivan, you know, champagne taste, you know, but you know, lemonade money. And the thing is, at the end of the day, you can do that in certain genres or certain industries. But with football, you've got if that's the man you want, pay. All right, it might be an extra couple of mil. Okay, but you buy somebody like that, and if you've got them for 5-10 years, whatever, it becomes a bargain. But they haven't. I don't think they've worked it out with managers. All right, you've got to pay if you wanted Silva. All right, you've got to pay an £8 million clause. Okay, but if he's your manager for 5 years and you win or a trophy or whatever,
mate,
you save money.
Look, there have been so many sliding doors moments for West Ham under David Sullivan since we've gone. I mean, the first one was 15-16. You know, he could have strengthened the team there. He could have got Billy some good players, but he didn't. He walked with that squad down with shit, so we got worse.
Absolutely.
And then you had the European Cup win, which was fuck lucky. Off the back of one of our worst seasons in living memory. I thought we was getting relegated that season. And what should have happened there is what happened to Ange Postecoglou this season with Spurs. We should have shook David Moyes' hands. He would have gone out an absolute fucking legend because we'd won the cup. Absolutely. And we could have used that as a springboard to push on. You know, we're in the Europa League the following year. Gone out and got Marco Silva, who was already apparently that he'd already signed, more or less. You know, he'd already agreed. He'd already agreed the package because at that point there was a rumor with Fulham that he was going to Saudi because he was holding off on his contract extension with Fulham. But the second that it came out that David Moyes was not leaving, all of a sudden he signs his contract extension again. So that we could have been into our third year of Marco Silva, who does play a brand of football that we would all fucking love. We would all get behind, you know.
There you go. I mean, the thing is like you say, the big problem with, you know, Sullivan is that what he does. It's like, right, I want to get a manager that's hard to work. It's cheaper. But, you know, as I say, if you've got to pay $8 million to get Silva and he becomes as successful as you speculate he could be, then you've saved a load of money rather than getting crap after crap after crap and then compensating them.
It's fucking expensive when you got to sack two in a year, isn't it?
Well, there you go.
If you got to pay off Potter $9 million, then you got to go and pay off Lopetegui, whatever it was, $8 million, $9 million, pay him off.
It costs you more money.
Yeah, I know.
Mean, do you know what, Nick? I heard, what was it? I think it was it might be a match of the day last week when we played Arsenal recently and we lost 2-0. And somebody said, the last 4 meetings between West Ham and Arsenal, they've had 4 different managers.
Yeah.
And you think before Sullivan came there, we'd had 11 managers in our history. We've had 10 now since they've been there.
Yeah.
You know, that's a staggering, stat when you look at it. It's almost like, you know, it can't be true, but unfortunately it is. And, you know, we can't keep, you get what you pay for, to be honest, at the end of the day. And that's what it is. And he doesn't want to pay for anything, or he doesn't want to pay the full price for it.
No.
You know, so, you know, if you're not going to do, you know, if you're not going to do right by your team, you should F off. That's the way I see it, because he's never going to do it. No. And the thing is, obviously, I know that we got Brentford and come up. I'll be there as well. I was at the last one as well.
Yeah.
The Palace one. The thing is, you know, people say, well, they don't think that, well, you know, Petition or whatever does well. It does. It actually does, because you know what? It makes those people that are in the offices and all that, hold on, what's going on there? Oh, we're not popular? Oh, we didn't know that. So you're better off saying something. Don't forget, we're the paying audience. We go and we expect to see a game being played by our team.
Look, more so than ever now, because do you know what we are now? We are officially customers. Now, if we're customers, that means we're buying something, which is a fucking product. What are we buying?
Right.
What are we buying then?
Don't know. That's a problem. I wish I could give you an answer.
A fucking refund, because it ain't football.
No, exactly. And this is the thing, and this is why I think, you know, they brought Nuno in, because Nuno, I think with Nuno, everybody sort of likes Nuno the person. You know, I sort of like Nuno the person. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with him. I sort of like Nuno the person. But the thing is, if he starts to do well, and he said, listen, I need more money, or I need some money to do this, or I need to change this plan, is Sullivan going to say, right, okay, which player do you want? Now, what if it's with a different agent that he doesn't use? Is he going to get him?
Probably not.
Or is he going to stick to the tree that he always uses?
No. Well, look. So what we've got now, we've got a situation where everyone's talking about, now we've got George Mendes, because, look, they've let McCauley go now. I mean, I can't bother to talk about it. He was never fucking used anyway. But McCauley's gone. He's been paid off. So now what we've got is we've got Sullivan and we've got Mendes. Now, we know that Mendes will be playing a big part in bringing players in. To be fair, Sullivan's always got on with Mendes, but now he's got Nuno in. We've got to tap into a different market. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the players that are on George Mendes' list, if you go onto transfermarket.com, not just players, for a start, he's got some great players, yeah? They're all at fucking top 6 teams across Europe. Apart from that, he's got all these lesser-known sort of Portuguese players. And do you know who else? He's got Marco Silva as a George Mendes manager. The Wolves manager is a George. There's George Mendes.
Really?
George Mendes owns about 5 managers in the fucking Premier League. So I don't think we're going to be getting any favours. We're not.
No.
And as
No,
people
we're
have been
not.
saying in the chat, now we've got a situation where the dynamics changed in terms of the coaching staff, and you've got Mark Robson, you've got Steve Potts, and others that are kind of that are in there now working with Nuno. We know that we've got a very good crop of young players. I would rather see, if we're going to be shit this year and we're going to struggle, rather than us go out and spunk, I'm sorry, 40 million on Fernandes and players like that. Because look, Fernandes is going to be a decent player for us, a good player. I always thought we'd pay twice as much as what we should have for him. He was never a £40 million player. I'm sick to death of West Ham spunking our money, and then pleading poverty that they've got no cash. And do you know what? When we've got youth players, I would rather see youth players promoted and given a go and developed. So we've got Fearon in there. We've got all these other players that we could bring into the club. Do you know what? In January, yes, we need a striker. Maybe we need a centre back, but I would rather see a big focus on developing some of our talent and getting them integrated into that team. Why not?
But wouldn't I mean, if and for Sullivan, who's like, likes to bargain basement and everything,
Yeah,
that's your best option. Use the youth that's already there. That will save you some money.
yeah, but
especially if they turn out to be good.
he doesn't like doing that. The reason he don't like doing it is because we all know why he don't like fucking doing it. Because we pay. Do you know something? We don't spend anywhere near as much as Arsenal, but our agents. Our agents' fees over the last 5 years are on par with what Arsenal pay, even though we don't spend half as much money. So what it is, you get paid. West Ham earn money in a season. They get Premier League money. They get TV money, TV revenue. Sullivan sees that money sitting in that account and he thinks, how can I get my fucking hands on that? Yeah. So what we do is we go out and we buy players. Now, you have to document what you spend and what you pay for a player. Bear in mind, we never pay up front for a player. If we buy a player for 20 years, it's on a fucking Littlewoods payment plan over 5-10 years. Do you know what's not on a Littlewoods payment plan? The agent fee. The agent fee ain't. That is a lump that goes to a fucking agent, one of his preferred agents. That is why we've always got to keep on buying players. Always got to keep on buying them. Because every fucking window, they use us as a fucking piggy bank. That's what they do.
Of course they do. And I'm sure I'm sure there are brown-coloured envelopes flying about left, right, and centre. And this is the problem.
Well, look at Callum Wilson. How the fuck did we end up with him?
I mean, that is, again, that's another one of these things it's like quantum physics. I don't understand that. But how we ended up with him, and don't forget, he used to take the piss out of West Ham. He used to take the piss out of West Ham all the time. Yeah. But we ended up with him. Paul Krug, I've got a friend of mine that's from Germany, and when we signed Paul Krug, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He said, why have you spent that amount of money on that player? He goes, if you're going to whip the ball in the air, we know he can head the ball, but he's got no speed, he's got nothing like that. If you've got him, you've got to play to his strengths, so you've got to keep whipping the ball in.
Well, good luck to Wilson. He's going to have to play 90 minutes coming up. That's going to fuck him, innit? Because, honestly, he must have something severely wrong with him physically to have signed the contract that he's signed. So his legs must be fucked.
Is it $9,000 a week or something like that, isn't it?
So they say. I don't know whether I'll buy it, but that's apparently what it is, $9,000 a week. The thing is, when you look at his reaction in the last game, sat on the bench when he didn't get brought on, it made you believe it. It made you think, shit, maybe there's some truth in it, because he looked fuming sat on that bench.
Yeah, because I think if he comes on the pitch, he gets like an extra 90 grand.
About 90 grand or something every time he comes on.
That's right. Yeah. So, he wants to come on the last 20 minutes. It's worth it for him. Do you know what I mean? I wish I could get a contract like that.
Mucky me and all, but with but what I think what he's going to have to do now, because Fulkrug's out for 6 weeks, even though I think he's been out since he came, he's fucking shit. We've been playing with 10 men anyway. I think that he's going to have to play 90 minutes. He's going to have to. Let's see how he does. We're going to end up with 2 of them. Two dead
And
strikers.
These are, this is the thing that I couldn't understand with Potter. Potter wasn't looking for a striker. Well, you've got half a striker with Fulker because he always seems to be injured.
Yeah.
You know, and we haven't had him that long. Wilson, we know, hasn't got the legs for 90 minutes.
No.
So what we've got two half of strikers. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't even want to say it, but we'd be better off keeping Antonio. At least we know he'll put a shift in.
Yeah.
You know, and it's you know, it's just we've got to stop being bargain basement. And this is the problem, you know, that Sullivan's there and he doesn't give a toss, and he's divided the fans. He's got everything. Some people will be all right with what he does. Most of us won't be. But, you know, as long as I can keep them guys fighting at the bottom there, they'll forget about us at the top. This whole Nuno thing, if Nuno was still at Forest, he would have made an approach for Nuno or anything like that.
No.
It's because Nuno wasn't there, so it's like...
We got him because he was free. That's why we got him.
There you go. Would he not have kept Potter until Christmas?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. I don't think he would have. I think we'd have had Dyche coming in, mate. Dyche would have been coming in.
Don't even say that. Don't even say that, please.
He was listen, mate. Potter was so shit. I mean, he was worse than that. He was so bad.
He was worse than that.
Honestly, the only thing, if I was the owner of the club, I would have been so upset with. I would have been so upset with having to pay him off if I was the board, because that geezer done fuck all. And I mean, like I said, he done nothing.
He looked out of it after about the third or fourth match.
Why does he deserve a payoff? Tell me, he's fucking shit.
Well, it definitely wasn't performance related. Let's put it that way.
Honestly,
I mean, to be honest, you know what I think with Potter? Those 2 years he's had out, he's now 2 years behind the rest of the Premier League. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, because he looked clueless. And okay, we can say that manager looked clueless out of spite, but no, he genuinely did look clueless.
He was rubbish, mate. He was so bad. But anyway, mate, look, it was lovely talking to you tonight. I'm going to wrap up.
Lovely speaking to you, Nick. Listen, come on, you Irons. Let's hope for better days.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Good call. Right, everyone. Right, everyone. Do you know what? I'm glad I've done the show tonight because I've been struggling with motivation. I've been struggling with inspiration too. I've been getting a bit fed up with it all. And yeah, you picked me up tonight, so thank you. I'll get back on the horse now. I wasn't going to do it. I decided about half an hour before going live to actually just do it. Just, you know, bite the bullet and go live. I'm glad I did. So yeah, thank you everyone who's been watching in the chat. Don't forget, drop a like on the video before you leave if you don't mind. And I'm going to go and get my head down, give me voice arrest. Thanks to everyone that's phoned in as well. Some good calls tonight. Yeah, and I'll speak to you all next week. Cheers, everyone. Speak to you soon. Come on, you irons.